Did the US government really just pull the rug out from under Prince Harry's feet, forcing the Duke of Sussex and his family back to the UK? Let's dive into this royal drama and find out what happened and why it matters. Just when you thought the life of Prince Harry couldn't get more dramatic, the US government might have thrown in a plot twist even Hollywood couldn't dream up. Rumors are swirling that Prince Harry's green card, the very thing keeping him stateside with Meghan and their kids, may be at risk. But how did we get here? It feels like just yesterday we watched the Duke and Duchess of Sussex break away from the royal family, seeking a quieter, more independent life in California. Fast forward to today, and Harry and Meghan's fairy tale in America might be unraveling faster than we could have imagined. But what could have caused the US government to take such drastic action? And what does this mean for the Sussexes' future? Stick around. We're just getting started. Let's take a step back for a second. We all remember when Prince Harry and Meghan Markle shook the world with that announcement. It was the news nobody saw coming. The Sussexes were stepping back from royal duties and moving to North America. Cue the media frenzy. For the first time in history, a senior royal was choosing to leave the monarchy, and not for another crown, but for a fresh start across the pond. For many, Harry's departure from the royal family felt like the ultimate rebellion. He wasn't just stepping out of the limelight, he was walking away from centuries of tradition, titles, and expectations. But was it as smooth as it seemed? Here's a question. What happens when you leave the most famous family in the world for the American dream? And what if that dream turns into a nightmare? So, why all the fuss about Prince Harry's green card? To put it simply, it's his key to staying in the United States legally. Without it, Harry could be forced to leave the country. And where else would he go but back to the UK? Think about it. For someone who's publicly distanced themselves from their royal roots, returning to the UK would feel like a massive step backward. Imagine trying to avoid the very family drama you moved across an ocean to escape, only to find yourself thrust right back into the thick of it. But why would the US government get involved in the first place? Is there some hidden rule that even a prince can't escape? Let's peel back the layers of this royal onion. If you're thinking, how on earth can the US government revoke a prince's green card? You're not alone. It seems bizarre, right? But here's the kicker. Immigration law doesn't care about your royal status. Whether you're a prince or a commoner, everyone plays by the same rules when it comes to US residency. Here's a fun fact. Celebrities and high-profile figures are often scrutinized more closely than the average person. With so much public attention on them, every move they make is under a microscope. Could Harry have unknowingly violated a rule, triggering this potential green card debacle? And let's not forget the whirlwind of controversies that have followed the Sussexes since they arrived in America, everything from their high-profile interviews to legal battles. Could this be the tipping point? Now, here's where things get really interesting. If Harry's green card is revoked, what happens to Meghan and their children? Meghan, as a US citizen, has the right to remain in the country. But would she stay if Harry were forced to leave? Would the family split between continents, or would Meghan pack up and move back to the UK with Harry? This opens up a flood of questions. How would the British press react to their return? Could the Sussexes rebuild their lives in the UK after such a public break from the royal family? And what about their multi-million-dollar deals with Netflix and Spotify? Would the Sussexes' American dreams crumble, or could they manage this royal curveball and come out stronger on the other side? It's almost like watching a soap opera in real life, isn't it? But instead of fictional characters, it's real people facing real consequences. Now that we've unraveled this tangled web, the big question is, what's next for the Sussexes? Will they fight to stay in the US, or will they reluctantly return to the UK? If you were in their shoes, what would you do? Would you fight tooth and nail to stay in sunny California, or would you make peace with returning to your royal roots? The Sussexes must be going through an emotional roller coaster, facing uncertainty in a country they've come to call home. They must also consider the UK, a land of scrutiny and strained family ties. It's a real-life drama that no one could have predicted. But one thing's for sure. The Sussexes are no strangers to adversity, and whatever happens next, you can bet it'll be headline-worthy. Let's not forget the rest of the royal family in this equation. If Prince Harry were forced to return to the UK, it would undoubtedly send shockwaves through Buckingham Palace. How would the Queen, or now King Charles, respond? Would Harry and Meghan be welcomed back with open arms, or would their return only deepen the existing rifts? And how would this affect their relationship with the public? The British tabloids have always had a field day with the Sussexes, but a forced return could fuel a media frenzy like we've never seen before. Could it reignite royal scandals, or could it be the start of reconciliation? We're left with more questions than answers, but one thing's clear, this is far from over. Let's face it, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are no strangers to the spotlight, controversy, or reinvention. If anyone can turn this situation around, it's them. They've already proven that they can step away from tradition, carve out their own path, and thrive on their terms. But could this green card drama force them into an unexpected chapter of their lives? One thing's for sure, their resilience has been tested before, and no matter where they end up, Harry and Meghan have a knack for bouncing back stronger than ever. So, what do you think? Should the US government really be meddling in Prince Harry's residency status? Do you think the Sussexes should fight to stay in the US, or would a return to the UK be their best bet? We want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let us know where you stand in this royal showdown. Whether you're Team Sussex or not, one thing's clear, this story is far from over. Call to action, share your opinion, and if you found this deep dive into the Sussexes' latest saga interesting, be sure to share this article with fellow royal watchers. Let's see what the world has to say about the next chapter of Harry and Meghan's journey. Imagine the contrasting lives Prince Harry and Meghan have built. On one hand, there's sunny California, a life filled with freedom, relaxed public appearances, and multimillion-dollar deals with some of the biggest media companies in the world. On the other hand, Buckingham Palace, a life rooted in centuries-old traditions, a world where duty and decorum are paramount, and privacy is a rare luxury. For Harry, California represents more than just a geographical move, it's a breakaway from a lifestyle that was rigidly defined by royal expectations. But if his green card situation leads him back to the UK, how will he cope with the contrast? How will this latest chapter affect their image? If Harry is forced to return to the UK, will Americans still view him as the prince who bravely chose his own path, or will they see it as a retreat? And what about the British public? Could this be an opportunity for Harry to rebuild his standing in the UK, or will it only fuel more division? In a world where image is everything, Harry and Meghan are walking a tightrope, balancing public perception with their personal realities. What happens to Harry and Meghan's financial independence if they are forced to return to the UK? Their move to the US allowed them to strike high-profile deals with Netflix, Spotify, and various other ventures. Would their forced return to the UK throw those partnerships into chaos? Think about it. Much of their brand in the US has been built on their decision to leave the royal family behind and forge their own way. If they are seen as returning to the very institution they left, would those brands be as interested in keeping them on board? Could this be the end of the Sussexes' entrepreneurial empire, or would they find a way to maintain their brand while navigating this dramatic twist? The stakes are higher than they seem. After all, it's not just about where Harry and Meghan live, it's about the life they've built and what might be left behind if they have to return to the UK. We can't overlook the emotional toll this entire saga must be having on Prince Harry. From his well-documented struggles with mental health to the public rift with his family, it's clear that Harry has been through the ringer. And now, this latest twist could reopen old wounds. Can you imagine being pulled back to the very life you tried so hard to escape? After making a bold choice to start fresh in America, the prospect of returning to the UK, where tensions with the royal family are still raw, must be incredibly daunting. How does someone reconcile such contrasting worlds, when both are filled with their own challenges? This raises a deeper question. Will Prince Harry ever find the peace and stability he's been seeking? Or is this just another chapter in a long journey of self-discovery, one marked by both triumph and heartache? It's clear that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's journey is far from over. Whether they remain in the US or return to the UK, their story will continue to captivate the world. But beyond the headlines, the Sussexes are a family, navigating complicated personal and professional decisions, just like anyone else. What we're witnessing is a modern-day balancing act, where royalty meets reality. And while the world watches with bated breath, one thing remains true. The Sussexes have proven time and again that they are resilient, adaptable, and unafraid to take risks. So, what does the future hold? Will they fight to remain in the US and continue building their brand in Hollywood, or will they make peace with a return to the UK? Perhaps the answer lies somewhere in between. Either way, the Sussexes are writing a new chapter in royal history, one filled with twists, turns, and an undeniable determination to live life on their own terms. If there's one thing we've learned from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, it's that their story is constantly evolving. Just when you think you know what's next, life throws them another curveball. But that's what makes their journey so fascinating. They are not just passive players in this royal drama. They are the ones writing the script. So, what do you think? Should Harry and Meghan continue fighting for their life in the US, Or is it time for them to return to the UK and face the music?
Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Call to action. If you've been following the Sussex saga closely, now's the time to get involved. Share this article with your friends and family, and let's keep the conversation going. The world is watching, and so are we.
Will the Sussexes write their own happy ending? Only time will tell.
One of the biggest reasons Prince Harry and Meghan Markle left the UK was for a more private life. They sought freedom from the relentless scrutiny of the British tabloids and the pressures of royal duty. But here's the twist. Even after leaving the royal family and crossing the Atlantic, the media frenzy hasn't exactly disappeared.
In fact, the spotlight on them has grown brighter.
Their every move is still news, whether it's a casual stroll in California or an explosive tell-all interview.
It's like they can't catch a break. So, what happens if they are forced to return to the UK?
The British press has never been kind to them. It's hard to imagine that things would be any different if they were back on British soil. If anything, it could reignite the media circus, with every tabloid and news outlet ready to pounce on their next move. Is it even possible for the Sussexes to find true privacy? Or are they destined to be front-page news no matter where they go? It's the price of fame, but for Harry and Meghan, it's a price they've been trying to avoid. Prince Harry's situation is unique and challenging. He struggles to balance his royal duties with his desire for personal freedom. He's a prince by birth, raised in a world of pomp and tradition. Yet, he wants to carve out his own path, free from the expectations that come with his title. But can he ever truly escape his royal responsibilities? Even in the US, Harry has remained involved in various charitable causes and public endeavors, but always with a desire to do things his way. If he's forced back to the UK, it could be a rude awakening. A reminder that no matter how far he runs, his royal obligations will always catch up to him. This brings us to a pivotal question. Can Prince Harry find a middle ground? Is there a way for him to honor his royal roots while still maintaining the freedom he craves? Or is this an impossible balancing act that will always leave him torn between two worlds? Every major decision Prince Harry and Meghan Markle make has a lasting impact on their legacy. From leaving the royal family to their high-profile media deals, their choices have shaped how the world views them.
But what happens if Harry is forced back to the UK?
For many, the Sussexes represent a break from tradition, a modern royal couple daring to live life on their own terms. But a return to the UK, under less than ideal circumstances, could change that narrative. Will they be seen as victims of circumstance or as royals who couldn't escape the institution they once sought to leave?
And what about their children?
Archie and Lilibet are being raised in a world far removed from the royal family's stiff upper lip culture. A move back to the UK could thrust them into the very world their parents sought to shield them from. At the end of the day, Harry and Meghan's legacy is still being written. This latest twist will undoubtedly be a defining chapter in their story, one that could reshape how the world views their journey for years to come.